Hey guys,
welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, my name is Alexis and I'm from the US.
And I am Louis and I am Swiss.
And together we live in Switzerland, and this channel is all about living and traveling throughout Switzerland. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stick around. So if you click this video, that means you are in the midst of planning a trip to Switzerland and you are wondering what valley or what village you should stay in. So look no further, this video is going to go through 5 of the most popular villages in the Interlaken Jungfrau region and a few honorable mention hidden gems that maybe you didn't even consider. So for each of the villages or locations that we're going to go through, we're going to rank it on 6 different categories that we came up with, and we get asked a lot of these questions. That's how we kind of backfilled it into these categories. So for each village that we discuss, we're going to go through the cost, we're going to go through the crowd level, we're going to go through the views, we're going to go through the convenience of location, we're going to go through the activities that are accessible in that village, and finally, we're going to go through the availability and diversity of accommodations. So before we get into the video, and I know you guys are waiting for it, I just want to quickly call out our website, thetraveling.swiss.com. On there, you can book one-on-one consultations, check out itineraries. We have a free train pass selector tool. But what I want to call your attention to for this video is that we have a whole hotel review section. Every single hotel in this section, and there are dozens of them, we have stayed in personally, and this is our real experience based on what we've seen on the ground and just being in the hotels. We actually even have an entire section dedicated to this region particularly, so you can check out the website and I'll have it in the description. And some of them have even given us discount codes for you guys, so make sure to check that out. Any savings in Switzerland helps. So without further ado, we're going to start with the destination you're likely the most familiar with, and that is Interlaken. Starting with Interlaken and beginning with the cost, we have given Interlaken 2 out of 5 stars for the cost. It is quite an expensive village. It is the most popular destination in the region. It is very frequented. The hotels, the activities, the restaurants, the shops, everything in the area is a little bit inflated compared to kind of the market region around it and some of the surrounding villages. So for cost for Interlaken, we're going to give it 2 out of 5 stars. So moving right into our next category, crowds. For Interlaken, we're also going to give 2 out of 5 stars for crowds. As this is a very popular hub, it has a large train station, even has 2. A lot of trains come in and connect here, and it has a great availability to different areas in the region as well. This is quite crowded with both day trippers and people staying in the region. You will see large tour groups, you will see lots of people walking along the streets. So for crowds, we give it 2 out of 5 stars as well. So you might have guessed this next ranking from the previous category we just covered, but for location convenience, we're going to give Interlaken 5 out of 5 stars. It has 2 main train stations, it has the boat docks to go on the 2 different lakes. It is a great availability. You can get directly to Zurich, Lucerne, Montreux, Bern, all around the area and all around the region. And there is a lot of activities that you can get to directly from Interlaken as well. So for location, 5 out of 5 stars. Interlaken for views, unfortunately for this one, we're going to give 1 out of 5 stars. You can certainly access nice views from Interlaken, but for Interlaken itself, it feels a little bit more city-like than some of the rest of the villages. You don't have that charming Swiss countryside landscape. So for views, we're going to give Interlaken 1 out of 5 stars. So for village activities, we're going to give Interlaken 4 out of 5 stars. There is a great availability of things to do in Interlaken. You have 2 different boat docks to go on beautiful boat cruises to both Lake Brienz and Lake Thun. You have the Harderkulmbahn station right in the middle of Interlaken. You can go up to the Harderkulm, have a fondue. You have the Funky Chocolate Club if you want to take a chocolate workshop, and you have a great availability of restaurants and shops, all conveniently located within the village itself. So we'll give 4 out of 5 stars for village activities. And for accommodations, we're going to give Interlaken 5 out of 5 stars. Interlaken has a tremendous range of accommodations. There's a lot of different hotels, Airbnbs, so you range all the way from the Grand Hotel Victoria Jungfrau, which is probably as luxurious as you can get, down to hostels, and you have a full range of 3- and 4-star accommodations and lots of Airbnbs in between. There's a huge amount of options in Interlaken, and for that reason, we're going to give it our highest ranking, 5 out of 5 stars.
The next village that we are going to cover is Wengen. This is above Lauterbrunnen. You have to take a little train from Lauterbrunnen to get to Wengen, and you'll have a beautiful view over there. So on the cost side, this is actually not too bad. I was looking at different times and we're going to give it 3 out of 5 for cost. You had a good amount of options that was on the cheaper side, and it wasn't outrageously expensive in Wengen, so 3 out of 5 for Wengen. For crowd level, Wengen is really good, and this is why we give it a 4 out of 5. We love Wengen because you can't really get there with cars, it's mostly pedestrian, and also getting there is a bit more complicated with the train. Therefore, in the evening, even during the day, you have much less crowds, and this is why we give it a 4 out of 5. From a location convenience, we give it a 3 out of 5. This is, again, you need to take that train. It's pretty easy. You have trains all the times every 30 minutes to go to Lauterbrunnen, and it's also pretty nicely located to different activities that you might take, the Männlichen and more. So this is why we give it a 3 out of 5. So now the views. I'm excited because Wengen, for the views, this is really my favorite. It's located nicely just above the Lauterbrunnen Valley in a way that it hits the valley perfectly to have this incredible view. I give it a 5 out of 5, of course. And yeah, I think nothing can top Wengen for the views. So for village activities, we give it a 3 out of 5. You have, of course, much less activities than in other places, but you still have a good access, especially if you want to go towards that Jungfrau to the Männlichen. You have some nice activities that are right there, and you don't need to make extra steps to get there. So this is why we give it a 3 out of 5. For accommodation choices in Wengen, we give it also a 3 out of 5. You have, I think, a great range of 4-star hotel, kind of that range. You don't have that many cheaper hotels in there. You don't have also extra luxurious hotels, but if you just want to have a nice place to stay, this is a great place. I love the Maya Caprice Hotel, and we stayed there a few times in different seasons. And just in terms of choice, I think maybe a bit more narrow than other places in the region.
Moving right along, the next village we want to cover is another one that you are likely very familiar with and are considering, and that is Grindelwald. We'll start with Grindelwald for cost, and like Interlaken, we're going to give this one 2 out of 5 stars. When destinations are so popular, as you know, everything gets a little bit more expensive. It's a very popular destination. It's quite well connected. The hotels can be a little bit pricier here, as can the restaurants and shops. So for that reason, we're giving Grindelwald 2 out of 5 stars. So for crowds, we're going to give Grindelwald 3 out of 5 stars. It's certainly one of the bigger villages, so the crowds disperse. And if you're staying there at nighttime, I do feel that in the morning and in the evening, there are far fewer crowds there because Grindelwald is a very popular day trip location. During the middle of the day, you can certainly have groups of tourists on that main street. The main street is quite large, it's really wide, so you don't feel it as much as you do in some other villages, but it is something to call out. So we put that right in the middle, 3 out of 5 stars. So the next category is location convenience. We're going to give it our second highest rating, and that is a 4 out of 5 stars. Grindelwald is a little bit more complicated to get to than Interlaken, so for that we dinged it a point. Interlaken you can get to directly from many cities in Switzerland. Grindelwald you need a second train generally from Interlaken, but once you're in Grindelwald you can get directly to so many amazing experiences. You can go to the Männlichen, and it's by the Eiger Express to get to the Jungfrau, you have the Pfingstweg, you have the Grindelwald Fürst. You can get directly to Interlaken with the train. So it's quite well connected once you're in Grindelwald, but we just ding at 1 point because you have to transfer to get into Grindelwald itself from Interlaken. So for views for Grindelwald, we're going to give it a 4 stars. You have an amazing panoramic view on the Eiger, but because it's sitting in the village, you don't have some of those more amazing views as when you get higher up, like when you're in Wengen and things like that. So for that reason, we're going to give it a 4-star view, but you do have some incredible views of the Eiger here, especially from many of the hotels.
4.5 maybe.
So moving right into the next category for village activities, we're going to give Grindelwald a 5 stars. You can't really get much better than Grindelwald. You have kind of everything you would want to do here. You can go directly to the Grindelwald Fürst, you can go to the Pfingstweg. With the Eiger Express, you have access to go up to the Männlichen, and from there you can even connect to Wengen. You can get the Eiger Express and go all the way up to the Jungfrau. So your experiences in Grindelwald are almost limitless. There's the Grindelwald Gorge. There's a lot of beautiful things you can see here. So Grindelwald gets our highest ranking, and that is 5 out of 5 stars. For accommodations, we're going to give it our second highest ranking, and that is a 4 out of 5 stars. You have a 5-star hotel here, and you have a good mix of hotels at budget levels and plenty of 3- and 4-star options. There's a lot of different accommodations here that you can choose from, just slightly more limited than Interlaken, but ever so slightly, and for that reason we're going to ding a point and give it 4 out of 5 stars. So the next village on our list is Mürren. We're going to start with cost, and Mürren is actually one of the less expensive villages from our experience in this region, and for that reason we're going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. We find that the hotels, the restaurants, everything is a little bit more lower price, maybe because it's a little bit trickier to get here and there's a bit fewer people, but 4 out of 5 stars for Mürren. It's a little bit more affordable than the rest of this region. So for crowd levels, we're going to give Mürren a 5 out of 5 stars. Mürren, like Wengen, is a pedestrian-only village. You can't drive cars up here, so you don't have any car traffic. If you're getting up here, you have to want it. You can only get here by gondola 2 different ways. So Mürren is a little bit more remote. You have very few crowds, especially if you're staying overnight. It really is all to yourself in the morning and the evening. It's very beautiful. So if that's important to you, 5 out of 5 stars for crowds. For location convenience, we're going to give Mürren a 2. It is beautiful because it is so remote, but because of that, it is quite difficult to get to. Either way, you can get to Mürren. You can get to it via Stechelberg and the Schilthorn gondola, or you can get to it via the Grutschalp gondola, which is from Lauterbrunnen. In both cases, you have a transfer. It only takes about 20 minutes, but you do have two different modes of transportation you need to take to get to Mürren, and they are a little bit more limited in terms of hours. So in the evening, you're a little bit more stuck in Mürren, and if that's not something you want to do, if you want to have availability to drive around or to take trains around, you are much more remote when you are in Mürren. So for that reason, we give it 2 out of 5 stars. For Mürren views, we're going to give it a ranking of 4 out of 5 stars. You have a gorgeous view on the Eiger because you are already a little bit higher out of the valley. You have some beautiful panoramic views. It's a little bit less dramatic view on the Lauterbrunnen Valley than you have in Wengen. So for that reason, we don't give it our highest ranking of 5 stars, but you do have some stunning views here because of the altitude. So for our next category, which is activities, we're going to give Mürren right in the middle. We're going to give it a 3-star ranking. You do have some access to some great activities directly from Mürren. You can get up to the Schilthorn Mountain and see the James Bond world. You can go up to the Almendhügel, which is a hill that's kind of attached to Mürren. They have a beautiful playground, lovely views. You can do a little hike and walk down to Grindelwald, which is a very charming village. You can actually start paragliding from Mürren as well over the Lauterbrunnen Valley. So you do have some nice activities here, but not as robust and the same amount that you have in places like Grindelwald and Interlaken. For that reason, we're giving Mürren 3 out of 5 stars. And for our last category, which is accommodation choices, and maybe this will change later this year because the Mürren Palace is actually opening later in the spring, so maybe this will change. We'll report back to you. But for now, we're going to give Mürren a 2 out of 5 stars, and that's purely because of the availability and range of the accommodations that exist here. Mürren is probably one of the smallest, if not the smallest destination that we're going to cover in this list. So you have a fewer amount of choices, and the reason we're dinging a couple points here is because you don't have a range. So there aren't really any 4 or 5-star hotels, maybe one, and there aren't really any budget or hostel hotels. I can't think of any. So they're all kind of in that 3-star, very mid-range. So if that's something that you're looking into anyway, this won't bother you. But if you're looking for a range of accommodations, that's not available here. So for that reason, 2 out of 5 stars.
The next village is Lauterbrunnen. This is just a train away from Interlaken and pretty well located. So starting with the costs, Lauterbrunnen is actually the cheapest of the whole region when looking at hotels and different accommodation. So we give it a 5 out of 5 stars for Lauterbrunnen on costs. It's really on the cheaper side. Of course, it means that the hotels are also maybe a little bit less luxurious, but I was nicely surprised to see that the costs were very decent in Lauterbrunnen. Now for crowds for Lauterbrunnen, we give it actually a 1 out of 5. Lauterbrunnen is beautiful, you have these waterfalls, etc., but it's only one tiny street and there's a lot of people that come there. You have an entire place to arrive with buses, and so you have a lot of bus of tourists that come for the day. They even thought of putting a tax for the day trippers to Lauterbrunnen. Maybe it will be relevant even this year. It feels really sort of crowded. You can't really get away like you can in Grindelwald and have that sort of breathing air. It's all concentrated in that street, and this is why we give it a 1 out of 5. For location convenience for Lauterbrunnen, we give it a 4 out of 5. This is less than 25 minutes away from Interlaken by train, so one direct train to Interlaken. You also have the possibility to go up to Wengen and do some other things, or to Mürren also, so you have these 2 nice villages to go explore from Lauterbrunnen. This is why we give it a 4 out of 5. For views, Lauterbrunnen is actually in the bottom of the valley. So you're not like Wengen or Mürren above the cliffs, but in the valley, which is also pretty dramatic and nice. You have beautiful views of the Staubach waterfalls and other waterfalls. It's really nice, but maybe not as cool as the others. So 3 out of 5 for the views. For village activities, we give it a 2 out of 5. There's not that much to do in Lauterbrunnen itself. You have, of course, the waterfalls, and these are really amazing. You can walk up to the Staubach Fall. You can also walk in the valley, which is really cool, to the Trümmelbach Falls. These are really nice, but this is pretty much it, and this is more a place to connect well to other places rather than doing your activity right from Lauterbrunnen. For accommodation choices, we give it also a 2 out of 5 because you have really not a range at all. You have more on the lower tier, like 3-star. You have camping also, so it's great for cost if you want to be nicely located, but in terms of hotel range, this is pretty narrow.
So before we get into the official rankings of the 5 villages that we just covered, we have a few more honorable mentions that we want to mention, which are Still beautiful and great. We just didn't think they were as popular locations as the 5 we covered, but depending on the type of traveler you are, some of these may be perfect for you, so we want to go through them quickly. We're going to start with Grindelwald. Grindelwald is a beautiful, very tiny, authentic village that you can get to via gondola, or you can walk from Mürren, actually a 30-minute little hike. It is a very picturesque, charming, authentic village. You'll see lots of Swiss farmers here and animals all around the village. There aren't really any restaurants or hotels. There is the one pension. It is a basically hostel that has a restaurant attached to it. That's kind of the one thing in town. That's where you're going to be staying.
They make their own beer.
Yep, but that's where you're going to be staying if you stay in Grindelwald. But this is very nice for an authentic experience. There's lots of self-service farm stands, which you can go, pay what's listed. There's nobody there to monitor you. It's all based on trust. So if you want a very nice, quaint, authentic experience, Grindelwald is a beautiful option for you, but know that there's not much else around.
The next one is Brienz. This is on the other side of Lake Brienz from Interlaken, and this is a beautiful place to stay. You have also quite a few activities there. You have the Brienzer Roton. You can of course take the boats on Lake Brienz. You have the Traufer experience and Ballenberg, which are, I would say, Brienz is great for cultural activities overall. It's a little bit further to get to, but overall you have these views on Lake Brienz, the color of the lake. There you're really on the lake and you have the full view of the lake versus Interlaken where you're a little bit further than the lake, so you don't have that lake feeling. Overall, I love Brienz for it and would also recommend it if you're looking for some of these activities.
So the next one we're going to cover is actually the city of Bern. Sometimes we get the question where people don't want to move hotels. They say, Lex Louis, we want to stay in one place. We don't want to switch around every couple nights. We just want to stay in one hotel the whole week we're here. And in that case, Bern is a great option. Bern, you can get into Grindelwald, get into Interlaken, do all of these activities generally within an hour or so. It's very well located. But beyond that, Bern is a beautiful city, very charming to explore. Bern is something to consider if you really just want a nice city, but you really just want to park yourself in one hotel for the whole time. Bern is a great option for you.
And the last location that we selected is Spitz. This is on the Lake Thun, so on the other side, and has an amazing location in the middle of Lake Thun. There's a beautiful bay. You have amazing views on that lake, and also Spitz is super well located. You are super close to Interlaken, less than 20 minutes by bus or train, but you're also close to a lot of sort of more hidden gems, location and activities. You're close to the Stockhorn, to the Niesen, to the Oeschinensee Lake. You're also on the Golden Pass Express line if you want to go to Montreux, or if you want to go to Zermatt also, it's the closest. You have to change in Spitz when you come from Interlaken. So Spitz for me is a great place, not too far, and you will have no crowds or really just the Swiss tourists. So that's also something to consider.
So now we're going to go into our official rankings. Remember, this is considering all of the categories, even weight. So we're going to start with number 5, and number 5 is going to be Lauterbrunnen. Still a beautiful valley, generally isn't our top recommendation of where to stay, but is a very nice valley and village to visit. Number 4 is going to Interlaken. This might not be what you want to hear. It is still nice to stay, but because of the cost and the crowd levels, it seems like Interlaken is getting our 4th spot. Number 3, right in the middle, is Mürren. Mürren ranked pretty evenly across the board. It is fairly priced, but there aren't a lot of accommodations here, and it is not the best location in this video, and for that, it's getting our 3rd spot. And our number 2 goes to Wengen. Wengen is a beautiful destination, not getting our top spot for this one, but is still, I think, one of the lesser known gems. Not everybody stays here, and it's actually the place that Louis and I generally prefer to stay when we visit, so maybe you'll catch us there if you stay in Wengen.
And I will give you the name of the winner or the top spot, and this is Grindelwald. Grindelwald is kind of a very well-rounded location-wise, but also from the range of hotels, all the activities. You could just even stay in Grindelwald and do so many different things for like 3, 4, 5 days. This is why it's getting our 1st spot.
Okay, so those are our rankings on where to stay in the Jungfrau region. We hope this was helpful. This is a question that we get asked so often in our emails and our DMs, where you should stay. So we wanted to make a video kind of going through our experience because we've stayed in all of these places. So hopefully this was helpful. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It helps our channel to grow. And if you need even more resources, again, please head to our website, thetraveling.swiss.com. You could check out reviews on all the hotels in this region and so much more. But that is it for us, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
If you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.